Every Splatoon game has a crazed villain ready to take over the world, or at least Inkopolis or Splatsville, and in every single one of those stories, there's a young Inkling or Octoling hero that rises up to the occasion. But out of our 5 main playable heroes, which one is technically the strongest? To figure this out, we will not just be going off of the tools and weapons at their disposal, we'll be including all of their experiences and also what they were able to overcome during each and every single one of their adventures. So just because somebody has super cool gadgets isn't automatically going to put them at the top of this list. With today's list, we have 5 characters that we have to dissect and rank, so let's not waste too much more time, except real quick, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Splatoon, because we'll be talking about Splatoon for a while. I have tons of fun videos planned, and we're also super close to our goal of 400,000 subscribers, and you guys can make that happen today, so let's see how many people we can get to like and subscribe from today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's decide who is the strongest hero in the Splatoon series. Starting off at number 5 as probably the weakest of the 5 heroes was kind of a no-brainer to me, and this was easily Agent 4. Agent 4 really just kind of showed up for the main campaign of Splatoon 2 and just vanished, and he didn't really do anything super extraordinary like some of these other characters on this list. Agent 4 pretty much just took out DJ Octavio and his army the same exact way that Agent 3 did, and arguably DJ Octavio was in a weaker form in this battle, at least to me. He also fought a mind-controlled Callie, but I mean, she didn't really do much besides throw some subs at you while you fought him. Now, Agent 4 has fought some elite trained Octolings, but besides that, nothing really special on their resume. However, thanks to Sheldon, Agent 4 does have skills in a variety of different weapons, unlike Agent 3, but overall, his adventure and journey that he took wasn't anything special. They jumped in, saved Callie, defeated DJ Octavio and his army once again, and was never to be seen again, which kind of stinks since the rest of the characters on this list has had some type of recent appearance. So sorry Agent 4, but you're probably our weakest hero right now. Next up, we have the original Agent 3. Agent 3 is no doubt a legend across Inkopolis and even parts of Splatsville for saving the day on multiple occasions and being the first hero that we've ever had. But how strong is Agent 3 actually? Well, Agent 3 was trained by Captain Cuttlefish, the original Splatoon leader for the Inklings, and even worked alongside Agents 1 and 2, being Callie and Marie, but no, we're not counting them in this video today. However, Agent 3 was only trained with one weapon and only used one weapon, being his hero shot, and that was it. Now, he has taken down elite trained Octolings, including a fierce battle with Agent 8. Even though the much stronger version of Agent 3 in the second fight against Agent 8 was pretty much all inside Agent 8's head, Agent 3 is very capable. He even took the battle to the front lines against Commander Tartar and his army, getting very close before being sanitized at the last second, which made him an extreme threat to Agent 8. Now, even though being very high skilled, he's lost a bunch of fights, including to Agent 8, to Commander Tartar, and eventually kind of retires in the main story of Splatoon 3 and kind of just sits on the sidelines with Callie and Marie. After all of his adventuring, he pretty much has one role in Splatoon 3, which is to pretty much cut the grass, or the fuzzy ooze. After his lawnmower shenanigans, he's pretty much back to once again being retired, so Agent 3 is definitely a legend. Do not get that wrong, but at the same time, most of the things that we've been able to see in-game were small feats like taking out DJ Octavio for the first time, and we really didn't get to see how far or exactly what happened against his battle against Commander Tartar before becoming partially sanitized. But overall, Agent 3 is a hero, but definitely not the strongest. Funny enough, we have another Agent 3 on this list, but he is deemed the new Agent 3. As we just discussed, in the main story of Splatoon 3, the OG Agent 3 has retired and living the calm life accompanied by Callie and Marie. With the OG retired, that leaves us with the new Agent 3, which should have just been named Agent 5. I don't know why they did that. So we're just gonna call him New 3, because New Agent 3 sounds like it's just too much. For New 3's first adventure, he went on a pretty big one, clearing underground facility challenges left in Alterna, which a lot of these missions were way more dynamic than most of our heroes have seen so far. Even went to space and teamed up with DJ Octavio, which has never been done before. Nu 3 defeated an entire mammalized Octarian army, a sentient bear that fell from a space shuttle, and he was even able to defeat each member of Deep Cut, which are highly trained thieving warriors. Shiver from the Hohojiro clan, Fry from the Onaga clan, and Big Man from the Manta clan. Nu 3 was not only trained by Callie and Marie and probably help from Captain Cuttlefish after they recovered him and the old Agent 3, but also was able to train with every single weapon to date and even worked with a salmonid child. He's had experiences from all across the board, and I'm sure after uniting with Deep Cut towards the end, he also learned some things from them as well. And being honest, it takes a lot to beat somebody that went to space and fought a giant space bear and saved the day. Not only the day, pretty much the entire globe. Now, one of the few things that's holding Nu 3 back from being higher is he's only had one main adventure, and he's had a lot of help. Thanks to the help of the Squid Sisters, of the OG Agent 3, and even of Deep Cut, and Small Fry, and Captain Cuttlefish, yeah, he's had a lot of partners get him through this. I still don't think that takes away from all the skills that he's learned, but still, I think that does keep him from being one of the top 2 strongest. The new Agent 3 definitely ended up being a more than suitable replacement for the OG, but still not quite as strong as the top 2 on this list. In the recent Splatoon raiders, we were introduced to a new unlikely hero, a helicopter pilot / mechanic. After crash landing on the Spiralite Islands with Deep Cut, it's your job to eradicate the salmonid and get down to the bottom of what's going on here on these islands while also collecting treasure to pay off Splatville's debt. Mechanic might be the odd one out here and may not be an agent, but goodness gracious, is this mechanic prepared. The mechanic wasn't tasked with just taking out some Octarian troops, but instead, hordes of salmonid, which normally 4 people at a time would try to take out in Salmon Run, he did by himself, with just the help of one member of Deep Cut in a tank, which arguably did not do much of anything outside of a random special every now and then that helped you in a pickle, but for the most part, Mechanic handled everything by themselves. With some help from Deep Cut, the Mechanic was able to craft every main weapon and every alternate version of each weapon that's ever existed up until now. I'm talking every single variant, even some new ones. So the Mechanic is incredibly highly trained with every single weapon, and let's not just talk about weapons, but with gadgets too. No other hero was able to wield the gadgets that Mechanic has, which some of them are outright insane. If we were to judge every single hero based off of their weapon loadouts alone, the Mechanic would win with flying colors. Wielding a Splatchet that can slice through enemy shields, or having bomb balloons or turrets that you can lay down, to even being able to just fly around the battlefield and never touch the ground. I mean, it's really just insane all the things that the Mechanic actually had at his disposal. And like I previously said, he has taken down ridiculously huge hordes of salmonid. I'm talking hordes way bigger than any 4 group of Inklings and Octolings had to deal with in Salmon Runs mode. All shapes and sizes, even mythic boss salmonid, and saved all of Splatsville and Inkopolis as a whole from a giant salmonid invasion by taking out the 7th generation Salmonarch, which is the god leader of the salmonid. Now granted, the Walker tank and each member of Deep Cut played a very significant role at the end of the game that definitely helped the Mechanic, but still. The only thing I will say though, is the Mechanic's adventure wasn't as unique as the others. They just simply went throughout the Spiralite Islands taking out armies of salmonid. Outside of a few challenge test rooms, we don't really know how athletic the Mechanic is compared to the other heroes, how agile. How would the Mechanic fare in an obstacle course, or a super deep intriguing puzzle that they have to solve? Like I said, this game does have a handful of challenge rooms, but nothing in comparison to what the other agents had to take on. And I'm sure the Mechanic has been trained by each warrior of Deep Cut, which is really cool, and we can even see some things that the Mechanic does that no other Inkling or Octoling has done, like even surfing across the water, which is extremely dangerous for somebody like an Inkling or Octoling, who can literally die if they touch the water. So we know the Mechanic definitely has grit, and never looks like they're panicking in a scary situation. The mechanic is extremely strong, but I think it's safe to say the primary reason they are so strong is simply because of their insane weapon arsenal. If anything, I see the mechanic as the Punisher from Marvel, the type of hero that can mow down armies of bad guys thanks to their elite weapon knowledge and craftsmanship. But I still think there's one other hero on this list that has gone through so many different crazy situations and has completed what seemed to be the impossible and has saved our beloved Splatsville and Inkopolis not once, but multiple times. It's no secret to a lot of you guys that the Octo expansion mode is probably one of my favorite elements of any Splatoon game. It's probably my favorite story, favorite villain, and yeah, you guessed it, it's definitely my favorite hero. And bias or not, I think Agent 8 is without a doubt the strongest hero on this list. Agent 8 has not only went through one extreme adventure in the Octo expansion, but also saved everybody once again in a second adventure in a side order DLC from Splatoon 3. So what is it that Agent 8 did that was so special? Well, their first adventure in the Octo expansion, they saved the entire Octoling race, which also allowed them to bring the Octolings and Octarians out from hiding and join the Inklings. But this first adventure would also save the Inklings, the entirety of Inkopolis, and probably the whole world by taking out a rogue AI left behind by humans that had taken over and sanitized the Octarians, which the Octoling itself had to fight, like his own brethren. To me, this is probably one of the most difficult feats for any of our heroes. Not only did Agent 8 have to go through ridiculously tough challenges left behind in the deep sea metro, but had to take out sanitized versions of extremely powerful foes, even like the original Agent 3. Not to mention had to completely paint over an entire statue in the middle of the ocean in under 3 minutes to save the world. Agent 8 was also tested completely through these underground challenges by having to complete them with different weapons, some missions giving them absolutely no weapons, and single-handedly scaling the layers of Commander Tartar's facility in order to reach above ground, all completely alone. That was all on one adventure. The second adventure had Agent 8 being sucked into the Members, a digital world, along with a lot of other members from Inkopolis. So very similar to the mechanic, Agent 8 had to scale multiple floors, but instead going upward a giant tower of order and defeating giant waves of these weird construct enemies. And sure, the Gelatins are not as strong as a group of Salmonid, but still, Agent 8 definitely got put to the test in a couple of these rooms, but thankfully had the help of the Pearlbot. But then, even at the top of the spire, when all hope looked lost, Order executed his grayscaling plan, but still wasn't able to defeat Agent 8, as Agent 8's life force was so strong and their vibe, whatever that means, was so powerful it was able to awaken everybody back up. Like, literally, Agent 8 was OP levels of could not be stopped. And depending on if you 100%ed side order or not, Agent 8 actually completed the Tower of Order multiple times, at least 12 times, and completed all the available pallets. One Octoling was capable of defeating 2 evil rogue AI, and on top of that, a sanitized Agent 3. And even defeated Agent 3 again in their head. Like, that's some serious stuff. Bro even has dreams about taking out his opponents. And he's also the only hero that's been trained by the members of Off the Hook, being Pearl and Marina. Agent 8 is just that all-around hero that you want on the battlefield, capable of doing pretty much everything, defeating hordes of enemies like the mechanic, taking out crazy obstacle courses like new Agent 3, or just being very skillful with weapons and taking out corrupted Octarians like Agents 3 and 4. Agent 8 has taken out some of the most craziest villains and enemies to date, completed some of the wackiest, insane adventures while also saving the Earth on multiple different occasions. And that is why, in my eyes, Agent 8 is the strongest hero of the bunch. But of course, we're not all going to come to an agreement on this one, so I leave it up to you guys. Who do you think is the most powerful hero in the entire Splatoon series? Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and of course, I'll see you in the next Splatoon Theory.